All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to week 3 of the Armchair All-Americans podcast, the Armchair Express. My name is Daniel Nera. I am your host, and I am the Patriots writer on this podcast. So first off, we're going to go ahead and introduce everyone. So, Richard, you are first.
What's up, guys? This is Richard Cano, writer for America's team, the Dallas Cowboys.
After Richard, we have Martinez.
Hey, what's up, guys? Matt Martinez, writer for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, Jeremy.
Jeremy Bush, writer for the Arizona Cardinals.
Chark.
Yo, what's up, guys? Elon Shark, writer for the Bills. Excited to be back on the podcast this week.
Welcome back, Chark. Christian.
Hello, people. I'm Christian Babcock. I occasionally say things about the LA Rams, and it's easy because there's a lot to say. So,
All right, Kaylor.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Caleb Feltman, writer for the Chicago Bears.
All right, so that's our team for this week. And we're going to start out with our game picks as we do every week. So first off, we're going to go with the Steelers at Bills. And we actually have two writers here, so we're going to do a head-to-head. So who wants to take that off?
I can go first.
Yeah, before we say our pieces, I just want to say that the Bills have to win this game. And particularly it's on Tyrod's shoulders this game because he's been getting a lot of shit this week from Bills fans, from the media, in interviews. And this game, he's got to go all out. So it's a big game.
And this is a game that I've been kind of worried. I'm more worried about this game than I was about the Giants, which the Steelers actually did really well against. But I'm really surprised because I'm really worried about this game because so far this season, the Steelers have not done well against teams that have focused on the run. Like the Miami Dolphins, Jay had over 200 yards rushing. They also gave up over 120 yards to LeGarrette Blount against the Patriots. So with this, I know the Bills are very run game oriented.
Yeah, number 1 in the league.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to be tough for the Steelers, especially since their rookie third rounder, Javon Hargrave, who is their defensive tackle, he has a concussion right now. And so he might not be able to suit up for this week. And that's going to be really bad because they have Ricardo Matthews behind him, who is okay. And then they also have L.T. Walton, who I was looking at something. He gives up, on the downs that he's in that are running plays, he gives up about 8 yards a rush, which is not going to be good at all against the Bills.
Well, one thing the Bills need to do this week, they got to continue running the ball like they do, which I don't think will be a concern this week. But the one thing I'm worried about last week they did not stretch the field at all. And maybe Tyrod took a couple deep shots to Sammy, whatever. They didn't have Charles Clay. They don't have Robert Woods. But if they want to succeed this week, they got to try and stretch the field more. Because as you guys saw last week, they blew the game against Oakland, allowed 29 points in a row, and then they couldn't run it anymore. They had to pass, and it just didn't work out.
All right. So for me, in my pick, I had the Steelers. And just because I still see the Steelers on paper as a better team than the Bills. But I know the Steelers defense has not been that great against the run. And especially when you have a quarterback like Tyrod Taylor who can take off and run the ball himself. I see the Steelers having a bit of a hard time. But they seem to bounce back against the Giants, who have been a good team. So I think the Steelers take this one. That's my take on that.
Thanks.
So moving on along, we have Bears versus the Lions. So you can go ahead and take that on, Kayla.
Yeah, this one, it's going to be kind of the same story looking at the next Bears games for the rest of the year. They've got 4 left, 3 of them division, and the Washington Redskins as well. All of them are kind of average opponents with average records that are trying to make a push for the playoffs. The Bears are definitely not trying to push for the playoffs. They're trying to maintain a healthy roster for the last 4 weeks of the year. So it's going to be a tough finish to the season, but they're gonna fight. They showed a lot of fight in the last game. They beat the 49ers. It was a terrible weather game. If any of you saw it, you may have seen pictures of it. The snow was coming down from start to finish and pretty cold, but Matt Barkley impressed. He was under center and kind of taking the place of Jay Cutler, and and the backup Brian Hoyer obviously still out as well. So, but he took advantage of a 49ers defense that doesn't have a whole lot of strengths. They threw the ball well. Jordan Howard ran for 3 touchdowns. He didn't actually have a completely impressive game, but he did what he needed to in the red zone and got into the end zone. I did like their receivers. They had a lot of receivers come back, and we had a lot of drops the game before against Tennessee, and even in the weather this past week, they caught a lot of balls that may have been dropped the week before. So good to see them turn that around. On the other hand, Detroit, their opponent this week, is playing really well. They've won 7 out of their last 8. Statistically, they're not the best team in the league just because they got off to a really slow start, but they've been really impressive over the last few weeks. They've found a way to fill the gap left by Calvin Johnson, Marvin Jones, Golden Tate. I actually found that they're the only team in the league with 4 players on the roster with either 50-plus receptions or 700-plus receiving yards. Their rushing game isn't their strength, but it keeps them balanced, and they got a lot of dynamic players on their offense that can put up a lot of points. They've come along in the season, and I think they're going to come away with the win this time.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say the Lions. The Lions have been kind of hot, and I mean, like, did anyone see what happened to the Saints against them last week? Which, even though the Saints have a terrible defense, like us, we could put up 32 points on the Saints, but I see Matthew Stafford taking the Lions down the field time and again on the Bears.
I just want to say Stafford's looking like an MVP candidate right now. He's just carrying the Lions right now. It's good to see.
Yeah, I think he's been a good quarterback for a long time, and it helps to have a guy like Calvin Johnson in terms of statistics, and he can go up and make a lot of catches, but he's really showing his ability to go through reads and hit a bunch of different receivers and lead an offense now that he doesn't really have the pressure of throwing to Calvin Johnson every play. I think that helps him out a lot.
This is off topic, but could Calvin Johnson have been hindering Matthew Stafford? That's a topic for another time, but I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah.
So our next game pick is actually Cardinals at Dolphins. So Jeremy, you can go ahead and take off with that.
All right, so like I predicted last week, the Cardinals did win against the Redskins. It was a close game, and I think that the Cardinals realized that this is their last shot at a playoff berth, if anything, definitely in the wild card. But this week they go up against the Dolphins. Dolphins got destroyed 38-6 last week against the Ravens, but the Ravens have always been a sneaky team. I think that this matchup between the Cardinals and the Dolphins is going to be one where it's going to be which defense can stop the offense, because J.J. has been surprisingly good with just over 900 yards and 7 touchdowns, and they have the 3-headed monster in Jarvis Landry, Devontae Parker, and Kenny Stills at receiver, and that could be very, very dangerous. But the Cardinal secondary looked good last week, so I have some faith in them. And David Johnson just passed 100, over 1,000 rushing yards, so that's something to be positive about. He's looking really, really good this year. I think it's going to be a close game, but I still think the Cardinals win.
I didn't forget your game this week. So there's that. That's already a plus. It's getting better. But Cardinals, yeah, I'm saying they take it. The Dolphins with Ryan Tannehill, I don't ever see them being a good team, and I hardly ever take them to pick, as a pick to win. So easily Cardinals, without a doubt.
Yeah, and like every year, the Dolphins continually make their way to either 7-9 or 8-8. So I don't see that really changing too much. Maybe they pull out 9 wins, but I doubt it. So I think it's just going to be a loss for them this week.
Well, right now they are sitting at 7-5, and they're technically second in the AFC East. But I don't. Yeah, agreeing with you, I don't see them taking that anywhere, and that's unfortunate for them. And so our next game we have is Falcons at Rams. Babcock, you can go ahead with that.
Do I have to? Do I have to, Nira? Do I have to?
You kind of have to. It's part of your job.
Well, I mean, I don't know what much there's. Is this in Atlanta or is it here?
It is in LA.
Okay. Well, that's not going to make a difference. I mean, the Falcons have been doing really well on offense, and that's really all they need because it's the Rams, and if they give up touchdowns, then they give up too many to be able to score the same amount on offense. So Falcons are going to win the game. It's probably not going to be close. We'll just keep losing. So
You mean Jared Goff is not the second coming?
yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, come on. I think, well, he's been playing better than Keenum, obviously, and I think he's progressing. Excuse me. But at the same time, I think, I mean, off the air we were talking about whether the Rams should have taken Wentz with the number 1 pick instead of Goff, and
They should have.
maybe Wentz would have been, an improvement, but I really don't think the situation this team is in, it would have made much of a difference. I mean, maybe Wentz wins 1 or 2 more games and, they have another 7-9 year or end up 6-10. But, I mean, Goff is better, but he can't, to use an interesting metaphor that just presented itself in my brain, he can't quarterback the entire team to a win because he's not supposed to play defense, even though he is the quarterback. So.
And now he's been wearing 2 gloves now. Does that matter?
2 gloves?
2 gloves.
Does that matter?
Yes.
I like gloves. I mean, gloves work.
I feel like
he's
that's
passing better, so maybe it's the gloves. I don't know. Maybe he should wear 3 gloves. Maybe then he'll play like Tom Brady. I don't know. Or 1 on your foot. I have no idea.
He was not playing better with the gloves now against the Patriots, unfortunately.
And guys, also a fun fact here. If the Rams lose to the Falcons this Sunday, Jeff Fisher will tie Dan Reeves for most all-time losses by a head coach.
Ooh. That's not the kind of record you want to get.
Nope.
Totally a Jeff Fisher record, though.
It really is.
You got to say one thing about Jeff Fisher. He does have a nice stash.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
That's not an excuse.
Did anyone see how Jeff Fisher could not find his challenge flag against the Patriots?
No.
He had to physically go to a referee and tell him that he wants to challenge the play, but he couldn't find the challenge flag. Which is it's such a Jeff Fisher thing to do.
That is such a Jeff Fisher thing.
All right. So for our next game, we have Cowboys versus the Giants, and of course, we have our resident Cowboy fan Kano here. So if he wants to go ahead.
Yeah, so last week I mentioned that the streak is going to end and it more than likely would be against the New York Giants. And I believe that up until Sunday because I saw the New York Giants in Pittsburgh. And I have to say, I feel a little more confident in Dallas going in there. For some reason, the past couple years, when the Giants go to AT&T Stadium, they win. And when the Cowboys go to MetLife Stadium, they win. So I don't know if it's a reverse home field advantage or if maybe the outdoors does something, but I'm actually going to say that the Cowboys win. My prediction, though, it's going to be narrow because it's Eli Manning, and you can never count out Eli. Niera, you know this better than anybody.
Don't remind me. You
cannot count out Eli Manning no matter what. My prediction is 24-21, last-minute Dan Bailey field goal to right the wrong. I think also the game plan is going to be different this time around because from game 1 to this week, how much have Dak and Zeke grown? By leaps and bounds. And now Jason Pierre-Paul is out for the rest of the season with his surgery, and that's going to be a big hole in that defensive line that I don't think they can plug up. And Zeke is looking to have another 100-yard game. Vikings game was I don't even want to go there because I was very disappointed. But I don't think the streak ends tonight, this coming Sunday night. I think it's going to keep on going. It's going to be hard fought because it's the Giants. But I still believe in Dallas winning.
See, I'm hoping the streak ends, specifically because I chose them in my pick'em, and if they lose, I'm coming after you, Kano.
Why? That's the thing. There are 2 writers who have been picking constantly against my Cowboys, like more often than Shannon Sharp has on Undisputed, and I'm a little concerned. Like I want to talk to them. I want to make sure they're okay.
I picked the Cowboys over the Vikings because the Vikings no longer scare me. They had a great defense. God knows what happened to them. But I don't know, just the Giants, they seem to be like Cowboy kryptonite. And
which they have been in the past. But
Yeah.
Jason Pierre-Paul, season-ending injury, and then I'm not scared of the Giants in New York. I'm scared of the Giants in Dallas. I will admit that.
And see, the thing with Eli Manning is it's hard to prepare for Eli Manning and for what he's thinking when he doesn't even know what he's thinking.
Yeah, you don't know which Eli you're going to get. You're either going to get 2-time Super Bowl MVP or you're going to get completely lost and throwing 3 interceptions in a game.
Picking his nose on the sideline, Eli Manning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that one. I'm still going to say Giants, although the Pierre-Paul being out is kind of a hit to their defense. It's a huge hit. But I mean, Eli Manning and Odell Beckham Jr. have a good chemistry going. If he can have an explosive game, then I think the Giants definitely have a chance. I don't have a prediction for the score, but I'm just sincerely hoping the Giants take it.
Fair enough. I can't even knock you for that. I will remind everybody of this, though. The catch, the infamous catch of Odell Beckham Jr. was in New York, and everybody remembers that catch, but nobody seems to remember that the Cowboys won that game.
That's a fair point. So next up on our list of games, and actually our last game, is the Ravens versus the Patriots. I, of course, am the Patriots writer, so I'm going ahead and take this. The Ravens have been an iffy team this year. I believe they're on a hot streak right now, and it seems that Joe Flacco gets better usually as the year goes on. But I'm going to have to say the Patriots take this, and of course I'm going to say that being a Patriots fan. But just because, we still have Brady. The defense seems to be getting it together. Maybe it was just a poor Rams offense, but it seems like they're starting to work things out. The only concern I have is the run game, considering the Ravens I believe, are the best team against the run this year. So I don't see as much of a run game, but we still have Brady under as a quarterback, so he's going to sling it up and down the field. We'll see. Instead of LeGarrette Blount, we're probably going to see more Dion Lewis and James White in the backfield. And although it's going to be I think a close game because the Ravens always show up against the Patriots, it's kind of a rivalry there. I think it'll be decided. I'm gonna say by 4 points. It's gonna be a 4-point differential, and if I had to put a score on it, I'm gonna say 28-24 because I still think the Ravens have it, and Joe Flacco knows how to see a blitz coming. He knows, even though he's known to just stand in the pocket, he knows when a blitz is coming, he's gonna get rid of it.
Just for the Ravens defense here, their defense has been insane this year. They're currently second in points allowed, first in yards allowed, and first in rush yards allowed. So that's a pretty big step up.
I believe the Patriots are actually first in points allowed, by the way.
Okay, well, then they're close to first.
Yeah. Oh no. No. You said second in points allowed. So
yeah. Okay.
I believe the Patriots are first. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I remember. But I feel like that's not always indicative of how well the defense is doing because I see the Patriots defense and I see them as they've been hot garbages this year. Yet they're still top of the league in points allowed. So
that's what matters, though.
It does. It is what matters, but it also is going up against poor offensive teams. So if the other teams have had like poor offenses, then it might not be indicative of how good or how bad the defense actually is. There's been one game really where they've had to go against a good offense, and that's against the Seahawks, and Patriots lost that game.
I am on NFL.com right now, and the Patriots are allowing 17.2 points per game. That is third in the league.
Third? Okay, so it's no longer first. I'm going to have to go talk to my the local radio announcers for making me believe otherwise.
Just saying, the Patriots also lost to the Bills this season.
Yeah, they did lose the Bills this season, but that was
Jacoby Brissett. Yeah.
Injured Jacoby Brissett, and even then that was only 16. Bills only scored 16 points, which I believe if you have Brady under center, they can still score 16 points. Brady pulls out the win with his typical roll out of bed 30 points.
And yeah, I'll agree with Shark too. I think the Ravens are kind of on their way up and back from their Super Bowl days. I think Flacco's got the arm to be able to cut through the winds up in Foxborough. That's going to be a big thing coming into December.
Oh yeah. I don't know his nickname. I believe January Joe. He seems to step up. The longer the season progresses, the higher the higher his level of play gets. So
Yeah.
it is going to be a great game. Honestly, it's a Monday night game, primetime. So, I mean, even if you're not a Patriots or Ravens fans, it's going to be a great game. I would recommend watching it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Definitely, it's a AFC rivalry game, and it's going to be fun to watch no matter what.
Not to mention, this game matters in the sense of the playoffs. Patriots are currently fighting for the number 1 seed with the Raiders. If the Patriots lose, and the Raiders win, they get the number 1 seed, and vice versa. If the Raiders lose, Patriots win. So it is kind of an important game, and I believe the Ravens are still fighting for a wild card slot, or they might be. I don't know. I don't remember where they are in their division.
The Ravens, I believe, are undefeated in their division.
Oh, are they now? So
Last I saw, that is that true, Martinez? You know that division better than any of us.
Yeah,
who's at the top of that division?
the Ravens.
Ravens. Okay, so they're not even fighting for a wild card slot. Probably they're in the playoffs as of now.
Yeah, it's the AFC North is going to come down to Pittsburgh, Baltimore on Christmas Day.
I can see that, and they're both 7-5. All right, so that wraps up our game picks for this week. Now we'll move on to our debate segments, and first off, we're going to start with the resurgence of Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers. They didn't start out too hot, as far as I can recall, but right now, I mean, they've been pulling off some upsets. I know no one predicted that Seahawks game a few weeks back. And right now they're sitting at 7-5, second place in their division.
They're tied for first.
Tied for first now.
Tied for first, yeah, my bad.
1B.
And they're on a 4-week winning streak. 4-week winning streak.
And they play Tampa Bay plays New Orleans twice. They play the Cowboys, so they probably will lose that game. They play New Orleans twice, and then they play the Panthers.
Well, the Cowboys-Bucks game was flexed. It was a noon game, but it is now Sunday night.
Making it prime time?
They made it prime time.
Do any of you guys think that they can catch up to win the division?
I think they could catch up for a wild card. I think Atlanta's a little too good for the division.
Yeah,
They're in the wild card right now.
I think they can secure it. They can probably secure the wild card, but catching up the division, no, probably not.
Let's look at the because the Buccaneers play the Cowboys, then the Saints, then the Panthers, then the I know they play New Orleans twice. They play the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's New Orleans, then at Dallas, then at New Orleans.
Yeah, okay. And then the Falcons, they are home against the 49ers, at the Panthers, and then versus the Saints. Yeah, that's pretty easy for Atlanta.
It is pretty easy for Atlanta. I mean, the Saints, they've been kind of iffy, even though they have Drew Brees. Their defense is awful though, and it's been costing them games. And the line, I believe Brees threw for over 300 yards against the Lions, and he didn't have one touchdown pass. So they need to figure something out. I know Brandon Cooks was upset a few weeks back that he wasn't getting enough targets. He got 0 targets in a game, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I believe I don't know if they could definitely go for a wild card slot. The Bucks. I agree that Atlanta's probably a little too hot, a little too much for them, but I don't count them out at all.
What's crazy is they're doing it with no wide receivers besides Mike Evans. Who else do they have? They have
Cameron Brate, tight end. He has 6 TDs. That's not bad.
Yeah, that was he didn't start off as the starting tight end. That was Austin Safari and Jenkins who got cut because he's kind of stupid.
We have to make America great again. That's what the Bucks are doing, making America great.
I gotta say though, I'm just not a huge fan of Jameis Winston. I know he hasn't made any headlines recently, but every time I started to like him in college.
Oh, I loved him at Florida State.
Oh god, he got on my nerves. I mean, he's just kind of a head case to me, and I mean, like I said, he hasn't done anything recently, but he hasn't really shown me that he's got the ability to lead a team and be mature. You know, I also didn't like the way the Bucks handled the Lovie Smith situation either as a former Bears head coach.
I think what we're seeing right now is probably the foundation of Jameis's potential to be a leader. I'm not saying that he definitely is yet, but maybe right now with this win streak and the confidence they're getting, maybe he can start to lay foundation and begin to lead that locker room.
I mean, he stepped in right away last year as a rookie, and he was kind of a leader. It's just I think now he's just kind of, he has a year under his belt, and now everyone kind of respects him. He's not just a rookie anymore.
Okay, so going along with the Bucks, there's a question specifically for Babcock. Does the Bucks' recent success have anything to do with their jerseys?
I don't even think he's going to jump in on that.
No,
I think we may have lost him.
oh no.
I'm
The
sure he
one-time-
would attribute it to the jerseys, though.
I'm sure he would.
Knowing Babcock.
I got to say, I'm jealous of the font that they have their numbers in. The way they have that
Guys, I'm
digital
here.
watch font. Oh, here we go.
Oh, we got him
Babcock's
back.
in.
I was muted and I didn't know it. Have they worn the all red ones yet?
Yes.
Yeah,
They
it
probably-
could be.
they
I
probably
don't
started
like
there.
those, but the all red could stimulate their I don't know muscles, be like, oh, we're all red, we gotta get going, because red is an irritating color. So
Does it make him go faster since it's red?
yeah, that too. You just need to paint flames on it, and they would be 16-0.
Oh man, there'd be no catching them.
Yeah,
It's a scientific fact that flames make you go faster.
but if
No,
I'm
they
allowed
need-
to have serious opinions besides just what people are wearing, I don't buy that Jameis Winston is the next great quarterback. I think he's good, but I don't think he's the next great thing. But they are 7-5, and I wouldn't have expected that. So maybe I'm wrong.
Neither would I.
I did not see Seattle losing to them.
I don't think anyone did.
I think that's a fluke, in my opinion.
Do you think that was more Winston or Earl Thomas being out?
Well, Earl Thomas definitely had an effect, but I mean, I don't know. It's interesting because the Seahawks defense, I feel like, especially in the game last week against Colts, right? Is that correct? They played the Colts.
I'm not sure.
The Colts played the Jets.
Yeah, no. Colts played the Jets. Seahawks
Okay.
played. About to find out who the Seahawks played. We don't
They
have our.
played Carolina.
Yeah, and they just
Oh my God,
obliterated them. And it looked to me like their defense, which kind of lost their teeth a little bit, was kind of starting to get it back a little bit. And then Earl Thomas, got injured again. So we'll have to see. They've been really up and down this year. They
I'd
haven't
never.
been as consistent, but they have had some really good wins. So
I'd never wish an injury on a player, but couldn't Earl Thomas get injured before injuring Gronk? Couldn't that have been a thing?
how about they both don't get injured?
Yeah.
I mean that works too. I don't. I'm upset that.
You're just salty and you want it all. We know you're a Patriots
Yeah,
fan.
because I'm a Patriots fan. I am burdened by greatness, and the Patriots.
Oh, leave it out.
All right. So our next debate topic is on the NFL referees, and specifically, the NFL is planning to hire 17 full-time officials, which will boost the ref crews from 7 officials to 8 officials. And the referees in the NFL have not been known to be the greatest so far. There's been quite a few games that have probably been decided on bad refereeing. Most recently, probably the Vikings versus the Cowboys. So, Kano, do you have anything to say about that?
I'll say this: the flag should have been thrown. That was a penalty, no doubt in my mind. My only thing is, with Bradford, I don't think it would have made much of a difference if they had another shot.
Oh, I'm not saying they would have won it, but they definitely should have been a penalty there.
Oh no!
I mean-
it was a penalty.
Even
How do you not throw the flag? Is what I want to know.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Bad refereeing.
Especially when you have 7 people on a crew. Like that, I didn't even know that, and that astounds me. You have 7 people. I know
The
it's a big field, but like you have 7 people out there, and none of them can get it right. I mean,
No.
The
and
only
you have replay too.
The only defense that I saw was the head referee for that game was on Bradford's right side. And when you saw the hit from the right side, it looked like he got hit in the shoulder. But you have the line judge on the other side that could see clearly that the helmet was hit. Now, the head referee may not have had the best thing, but that line judge should have still jumped in.
So
7 people. I'm telling you.
No, I agree with you. I don't understand how there's 7 referees and they all mess up this bad. And part of that is the whole that they're not full-time referees. They're part-time referees, which means that during the week they have their own jobs, and on the weekends they ref. And there's only the handful that know, like, what was it, Dean Blandino, who's actually a good referee.
What?
Yeah.
Is it Dean Blandino? I could be wrong. Unless you want to go with Ed Hockley and his huge muscles.
Love that man.
I'm not a fan, honestly.
You don't like muscles, or you don't like him?
I hate Mike Pereira.
You like Mike Pereira?
Mike Pereira.
Why?
I think Mike Pereira is one of the most honest guys on any Fox network.
I hate Mike Pereira.
Why?
Because I'm not okay. The Green Bay Dallas game, the divisional round. I'm not talking about the Dez catch. There was a catch right before halftime where the ball hit the ground and then bounced into the receiver's hands, and they called it a completed catch.
Oh,
and
God.
Pereira comes on and says that was a catch.
Okay, that's one time.
Yeah.
All right.
Give me some details. I'll watch it myself.
No, aside from that.
Do you guys think it will really make a difference?
Full-time
What, the
referees, it's a step in the right direction.
I mean, it might be a step in the right direction, but like realistically, what are they going to be doing?
How much are they going to pay him?
I guess a good salary.
Maybe they can be penalized now.
Minimum
if
wage.
they mess
I like
up.
that.
Minimum wage.
And 8 guys can mess up just like 7 can, so I don't know yet.
I think it's an improvement.
I believe that they should there should be an 8th referee, but not one on the field, one on the sideline or in a booth somewhere, being able to check the replay himself, so he's in every other referee's ear and he can tell them, no, that was out of bounds, so they don't have to take 5 minutes out of every game, throw up 3 commercials so they can walk to the sideline, debate, and then come back and give some weird answer where they're not even entirely sure themselves.
In talking about reviews, I'm curious to hear everyone's opinions when it comes to referees about having like somebody watching the camera all the time. Do you think penalties, especially I think pass interference is a big one that's going to be talked about this offseason, about being reviewable? I think that would be the first penalty other than maybe targeting that could go to the cameras.
Absolutely, not even just reviewable. I believe like they should be able to be challenged by the coach. Like some calls are just so bad, and pass interference calls are not challengeable by the coaches. And if you get a bad call in like a crucial moment, then sorry for you. It sucks for you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I kind of brought it up just because I think that would be a huge thing for the league. And I think so many games, I mean, a lot of people complain about how long they take and how many plays go to replay, but like you'd be a much happier fan if the game lasted an extra 10 minutes because of a couple like replay calls, if your team won because of it, or if your team like didn't win a game because of some fluke call that was going to get complained about for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and again, that's why I'm saying that there should be an 8th referee in a booth who he does the reviewing, and so he's in the main referee's ear telling him, maybe even 2. So it's not just one guy arbitrarily deciding. It's like 2 guys who have to like agree on the call, and that way it'll speed up the game a bit. There won't be like as much waiting around. There was like there's been times where they're reviewing it for like, which seems like forever, which probably is only like a few minutes, but I believe there was one where they reviewed it for 8 minutes. Not saying it was recently, but they reviewed it for 8 minutes before coming to a conclusion. That's slowing down the game itself.
Yeah.
All right. So our next debate topic right now, and I'm going to let Connor go off with this since it pertains to him. Jerry Jones stated that he will not rest the starters for the playoffs for the Cowboys.
I'm going to take a poll right now. Does anybody believe Jerry Jones is still running this team 100%?
No.
Nope.
Okay, I'm going to leave it at that because he said the same thing in 2014. Our final game was against the Redskins in Washington, and he said that Romo and Murray and Dez and everybody were going to play the entire game. At halftime, all the second and third string people were out there.
Yeah.
I'm not buying this. I think it's just habit. I think he's a creature of habit, being able to say stuff like this and it actually hold weight. If he doesn't rest anybody, I don't know if the youth movement requires a lot of rest, but I still think a break would be necessary. And he's starting to talk like we've already clinched the first round bye, which we still haven't.
Yeah, no, I agree. Also, it seems like that's a coaching decision to me. And granted, Jerry Jones likes to have his hand like too deep into the organization. But
Yeah,
that's definitely a coaching decision. He should leave it at a coaching decision.
yeah. The thing is, Jerry Jones is also the coach. We just have this guy, Jason Garrett, on the sidelines looking like the coach.
Gotcha.
What I'll say, though, is Steven Jones, Jerry's son, he now has a stronger foothold in the organization. And he lets Garrett do a little more of the coaching duties. And I believe if Dallas can pull off the win Sunday night, they'll clinch the division and then possibly the first round bye. There's some kind of weird thing that has to happen for everything to line up. But if they do clinch the first round bye, I believe they're probably going to rest the guys. I don't see why they wouldn't. And then at the same time, he's like, we can't rest the starters, but Tony has to be ready to go. And I'm like, you got to make a decision, Jerry. Which
definitely.
one?
Although, as I will give, if I were speaking to Jerry Jones, if I were speaking to Jason Garrett, I'd give the advice, and I learned this the hard way last year, as I'm sure so did Bill Belichick. The key here is to clinch the first round bye. And the Patriots had the first round. They had the number 1 seed last year, and then they mailed it in against the Dolphins. The Dolphins, a team that had nothing to fight for, by the way, that they let them believe that there was a chance of winning that game. Because if you shut out the Dolphins by the half, if you just shut them down, put up like 20 points to their 3 points by the half, they have nothing to fight for in the second half. That game is taken care of. First round seed, number 1 seed, playoffs come through Foxborough instead. That could have been a different playoff picture we see. So the Cowboys, if they clinch the first round bye, that is the key. If they do, rest your starters. If not, they need to be out there.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. If I'm pretty sure that they're going to get some rest somewhere down the line. Although a 10-game break before playing the Giants on Sunday Night Football is kind of like a mini bye. So I mean, we'll see where it goes. But I'm not taking Jerry's bait anymore. I know Steven has a bit more of a foothold.
Don't drink the Jerry Kool-Aid, man.
I refuse. I refuse.
All right. So our next topic, and we don't have a writer for this specifically. So anyone who wants to come in, is Todd Bowles on the hot seat?
No, I don't think he is. How long has he been there? 2 years?
It's his second year.
Yeah, this is his second year, and he hasn't. I mean, he's had Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback. He hasn't really had an opportunity, I don't think, to develop to build his own team. And I mean, he took. He almost took the gist of the playoff last year, and so I think he just needs an opportunity to build his own team.
But that's also the Fitzpatrick scam, where he comes in, does well for 1 year until you pay him, and then he does.
It's a cycle.
It really is a cycle. He's done it to multiple teams.
I agree. I think that right now you got him. He led into a 10-game win season last year, made him the playoffs, and I think Mike McCagnon's to blame. He has not put the proper players in there, and the only thing I have wrong with Todd Bowles is that he's not really starting to play Bryce Petty up until recently, or any other quarterback for that matter. And when you have Fitzpatrick throwing more interceptions than touchdowns, I feel like at that point you at least test someone out.
Oh no,
Because
definitely.
you're looking at next year anyway.
I saw on Twitter today, it was Jets owner Woody Johnson's extremely frustrated and a major overhaul may follow, including the firing of Todd Bowles. but you never know with those.
Well, I guess he is in the hot seat then.
Yeah,
Although-
but that's not how you run a franchise.
No, and that's one of the things with the NFL nowadays, where they give coaches a year or two, and then if they don't automatically have a Super Bowl after that time, they're like, okay, you're gone. Which you need time to work. A franchise isn't built in a year or two. You need, unless you fall into like extreme luck, like drafting Prescott, for example, you need time to build your franchise, and especially without a quarterback or with your quarterback being Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's just not enough time.
Yeah, he's gonna need more time. 2 years is not enough in the NFL. They do need a new GM though. I don't know what they're doing on draft day, but it's not working.
Christian Hackenberg in the second round was an awful decision.
Yeah, I heard he's garbage, like absolutely awful.
Everyone
Yeah.
thought he was garbage coming out.
Yeah, nobody had faith in him.
He had that one good year at Penn State. That's it.
That's probably what they were looking at, that one good year. But I mean, the Jets will be Jets. They haven't had a good quarterback since Broadway Joe Namath. I mean, they rode Mark Sanchez to the playoffs a few times, which is surprising.
2 back-to-back
Mark Sanchez.
AFC championship games.
Yeah, and that's when everyone thought Rex Ryan was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why he has a job. That's why Rex Ryan still has a job, is those 2 back-to-back AFC championships. Without that, he's not coaching in the NFL right now.
Completely true. He would definitely be a defensive coordinator in my opinion, but not a head coach.
Not a head coach, and that's the thing. Because as a defensive coordinator, I do think he is a good defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I think that's what he belongs. That's what he should be in the league, not a head coach. Okay, so our next topic, and there was a Twitter poll, in case anyone who saw this, any of our listeners out there, is Andrew Luck a top 5 quarterback? And my quick, no, he's not. I could give you a list if you want. For me, it goes not in any particular order. Brady, Breeze. Well, if we're talking about this season, by the way, Brady, Breeze, Prescott, Carr, and probably Wilson.
You think Carr is better than Luck just on talent? You don't think that's what to do with the team?
In this year, that's what I'm saying. This year,
This is just this season. It's not just based on like potential and stuff.
I'm talking about this season. I see Carr
Okay.
because as far as we know, in the long run, Carr will be better. I mean, obviously, Luck. As much as it pains me to say, Luck is a good quarterback, and it pains me to say because the Colts and the Patriots have a history of not getting along. But I don't know. In the long run, Luck is definitely, I would consider him a top 10 quarterback. I just think it's hard to debate who you're considering the top 5 quarterbacks. And if we're talking about active quarterbacks of all time, I don't see him as a top 5 quarterback of all time.
The Twitter poll says this season.
This season, okay.
And
So-
I still wouldn't put him in the top 5.
Neither would I.
Top 10, but not top 5.
Yeah,
Now,
at ACL Americans is that Twitter poll, by the way, if we're looking for, you guys are looking for it. But the thing about Luck, I know we've had a lot of discussions in this company, at least, is that you do have to take into account his offensive line and his supporting cast. A lot of people think you can judge a quarterback based on just like his stats, or just or you can't take into account like his offensive line. Andrew Luck's offensive line is miserable in my opinion, and I think he's a really good quarterback, and he gets overlooked a lot when it comes to discussions like this because he's not putting up the right numbers, or because he's not getting the ball out as fast as Rodgers or something like that. I mean, it's about your system, and it's about your coaches, about your offensive line. I think Luck is a really good quarterback. He just doesn't have the right supporting cast.
well, will Luck ever win a Super Bowl?
And he's going to have to get traded for that.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
They need a new GM otherwise.
I don't see it happening on the
Or a lot of changes are going to have to happen in Indianapolis for that to happen. But he is a quarterback that could do it. I think that's a quality that not a lot of quarterbacks have.
Oh, no, I agree.
There's a handful of them, and I think Luck has that.
Like, I believe if you put him, and I've said this a few times, but if you put him on a team like Denver, that team is a juggernaut.
Yeah.
Absolute juggernaut. or if you put him on a team that has everything else there. Honestly, even if you put him on the Jets, who they've been floundering in some aspects, if you put him on the Jets, that team is, I think, a playoff contender. The only problem there being maybe their secondary.
I'm just looking at a 2012 tweet from Skip Bayless. He says, quote,
God.
I'll say it again, give me RG3 over Luck any day, any night, any year, any career, end quote.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
That's
Yeah.
also Skip Bayless. So
Skip
He knows
Bayless.
using those words right now.
No, Skip Bayless is not a good source for any information, in my opinion.
So who would everyone consider to be in their top 5 at quarterback this season?
Hold on,
This season.
Okay, that's
My-
important. This season.
Okay, my list right now, I've got Brady, Prescott, Carr, Ryan, and I threw Drew Brees in there just because it's Drew Brees. As horrible as the Saints are doing, they wouldn't have a
Drew Brees
snowball's
is-
chance in hell if it wasn't for him.
You can't just throw Drew Brees in there like that, though. Like Drew Brees is absolutely a top 5 quarterback this
Yeah.
season. We've had this discussion last week, guys, when I explained Drew Brees and Derek Carr why they both should be in the MVP race.
No, they definitely. I agree. He's definitely in the MVP race. He's definitely a top 5 quarterback. So I'll repeat mine again: Brady, Breeze, Prescott, Carr, and the last spot is a little iffy, but yeah, Ryan could fit in there. Maybe Wilson.
As long as you don't say Osweiler again.
Osweiler, right? Yeah.
That was a joke. See if anyone's paying attention. Only like 1 or 2 were.
I almost hit a child in my car while I was driving.
Wait, were you texting and driving?
I was
Ooh.
using my
Ooh.
Bluetooth. It reads it to me, sir.
A likely story.
Oh, it's very likely. I use my Bluetooth for
Osweiler
everything.
being
I
a top
love
5
it.
Quarterback.
And you have that voice texting too?
Yeah, definitely.
That's the key. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah,
a
safety
responsible
first.
Person. You're a
Sa-
responsible person, unlike Jerry Jones. So good job.
We believe in safety first here at the Armchair All Americans.
We do
That's
believe
good.
50
Yep.
first.
So
We-
I was just saying, talking about the top 5 quarterbacks, who's the most underrated quarterback in the league this year? Any ideas on that?
Breeze.
Philip Rivers.
Yeah. Rivers, I think,
Stafford.
is
Yeah,
good.
no, Brees, you're right.
Stafford, because I feel like Stafford could be in the talk about MVP, and
It's
and
just
also-
based because he's just been carrying his team. Like if he was on the Jets too, I think they would also be a much better team, or even like the Bills.
Agreed.
I'm torn between Stafford and Alex Smith.
Yeah, Alex Smith has been really
Alex
good.
Smith is another one under the radar for sure.
I haven't been paying much attention to Alex Smith, honestly.
The best thing that happened to Alex Smith was when he left San Francisco.
Really.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
I'll agree with that. But they really tailor the offense to him. I think he's so good because everyone, all of the offenses since he left San Francisco are tailored to him. Like they cater to his strengths. Like there's not a lot of deep passes. They're all short, bubble screens, slants, crosses, stuff like that.
But that's what a good coach does. He
Yeah.
takes your strengths and he magnifies them and puts the team in the best position to win. And that's why when Andy Reid was in Philadelphia, he was a nightmare to play against.
Okay, so someone once described to me that Alex Smith was a poor man's Tom Brady.
No.
No, that's a bit of a stretch.
I mean, I guess I get what they're saying by poor man's Tom Brady in the sense of that he doesn't do deep passes, short, quick slants, bubble screens, and all that. But still, no, he doesn't have. I mean, he's I guess a decent quarterback. I wouldn't put him in the top 10.
He doesn't have Brady's fire, you know,
No.
not even close.
All right, and so here's a bit of a curveball. Top 5 worst quarterbacks this season.
Kaepernick.
Ooh.
Kaepernick. Also starting quarterbacks, by the way. Starting quarterbacks.
Oh God.
Blake Bortles, Colin Kaepernick,
Ace
Ryan
Keenum.
Fitzpatrick.
just the Browns.
That whole carousel right there is your top 5.
There we go. They make up a good
Guys,
portion of
are we
that.
talking about the worst quarterbacks or the worst teams? Because I remember reading an article a few years ago. Here's an example of that. When the Raiders went like 2-14, people thought Derek Carr was a bad quarterback. He wasn't a bad quarterback. He was just on a bad team. I feel like we should maybe factor that in. I mean, I'm not saying, like Kessler with the Browns or, whoever they throw out there.
Well, here's the thing,
Alright.
though. Carr got wins. And
After a
regardless,
few
it's
years.
2 wins, but they were wins.
But I'm talking about when you have rookie, like in Cleveland, when you have Kessler, who's a rookie,
Well,
playing with a team that's just hot garbage.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't watched Browns games, but I'm just saying. I think
was
we should be
forced to
careful
endure
not
one
to
this year.
automatically label the players who are on the worst teams as the worst quarterback.
I gotta say,
you're
it's definitely.
absolutely right.
Is anybody here sold on Ryan Tannehill?
No. I don't think I'd put him in the top 5 worst quarterbacks, but I think that if I have to put a list up, I'm gonna say Fitzpatrick, Kaepernick, Osweiler. I'm gonna throw in there, especially mainly because of how much he's getting paid. I want to throw a Browns QB in there, but it's kind of hard to pick one. I'm not gonna say RG3 because he hasn't even played.
He's going to play this week, though, isn't he?
I think he's
He's slated to start this week, actually.
Mhm.
So I originally had him as my comeback player of the year, and I honestly believe he would have made that if he didn't break his collarbone. But other bad quarterbacks, I don't know. Give me. I need 2 more.
I think Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's on there.
He had a hot streak for a bit. He was doing great, and then I don't know what happened.
Dalton is on your top 5 worst quarterbacks this season?
I wouldn't do that.
I don't know about that either. I mean, I haven't kept up real close to him, but he was on my fantasy team earlier in the year, and he still is. I just haven't paid attention to it that much. But I'm pretty sure he was like top 5 fantasy points for a long time.
No, he was. He was my. I have Breeze as my starting quarterback, but he was on my bench, and I ended up trading him high because
I got Dalton just because I drafted Brady and I needed somebody to fill the spot.
And did he fill that spot for 4 weeks?
He did okay. Most of my points actually came from the Kansas City defense.
Okay. See, I started him for 2 games. One when Breeze was on a bye week, he put up something like 26 points, which was good. And then I started him in another game, and he only got 2 points short of Breeze, so he was fine for me. So I wouldn't put him in the top 5 worst quarterbacks. Who else would you guys?
Jay Cutler.
Yes, Jay Cutler.
Cutler's probably worst ever.
Come on now. He hasn't even played a full season. He played like 8 games this year. Not even that. And he wasn't that bad. He's got nobody around him. Everybody's getting hurt. His offensive line has been banged up all year. Everybody's guarding Alshon Jeffrey, and they don't have any other receivers. The other receivers drop every pass. Jay Cutler's not that bad of a quarterback. Y'all need to chill.
I mean, I don't
think
think he's that bad. It's just I haven't seen it this season. I thought it was pretty bad this season.
He's on the injured reserve.
Well,
I think he's a quarterback with the skill set, but without the mental toughness to be a quarterback.
I think you give him a guy like Brandon Marshall again, and he puts up good numbers. Those two were great together.
And he did. Like 2010 NFC North champions, all that. That was with good talent around him. It's just like the luck conversation. You got to take a supporting cast into account.
I think his mental mindset and his attitude, though, will always hinder him.
That's what I'm saying. The mental toughness is not there for him.
He has mental toughness. That 2000 NFC Championship game, I think, is when everyone got the he doesn't have mental toughness thing, because like he got kind of hurt and then he was just on the sidelines. But he had a partial, I think, MCL tear or ACL tear.
Yeah, I was actually on his side for that. I didn't blame him for that.
But
in the past couple years, he's just. I mean, I'm just very confused as to his leadership is what I'm worried about.
Okay, tell me this. Better leader, better mental toughness. Jay Cutler, Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers.
Okay, but their nonverbal communication, their sideline like body language, exactly the same. They're on the field like cadence, all of that exactly the same. All the teammates all say positive stuff about both guys, but yet you don't see a whole lot of like Tom Brady like leadership from Aaron Rodgers, and yet he won a Super Bowl.
But the difference is that according to insurance commercials, no one comes into Aaron Rodgers' house without paying the price. Not now, not ever.
Yeah, well, at least Jay Cutler hit the fly instead of his Hummer, and that way he didn't have to be in an insurance commercial.
Dude, Rodgers will discount double check Jay Cutler any day.
I got to say, though, that's actually a very good point, Feltman. They are almost identical, like in their demeanor and everything.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
Let's see.
I really quick. Oh yeah, you guys can finish. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm gonna say the thing. The difference here is that Rodgers took the Brady approach by dating a model or an actress, whatever she is, Olivia Munn. So there might be some secret in that.
Cutler is
Dating a model too.
Yeah.
Can I say, I think Rodgers has been given a lot of latitude this year based on how he's played. Like, I think Rodgers is respected almost as much as Brady, if not more, because of, what Brady, some of the scandals that have gone through New England.
Last year,
you can say what you want about Deflategate and, all the, backlash against the decision, but it's still clouded, Brady's reputation. And Rodgers has been playing very badly at times this year, but a lot of people are still supportive of him.
I think last year, a lot of people, I know, like I defend Aaron Rodgers because I think his offense is, I think Mike McCarthy is not a very good play caller at all, and I think his offense has really let him down this year, like his receivers, and they've just now started clicking again for whatever reason over the past 2 weeks.
Before week 1 of this season, I was hearing that Rodgers was the best quarterback in the league. Before this season started, last season, Rodgers was number 1 over Brady. And now I agree with that. He's been getting a lot of they've been very lenient with his play. He's not considered better than Brady this year, but he's still considered a top 5 quarterback by most standards, even though his numbers and his play have not been there.
I think one thing, too, is sometimes the players can kind of benefit from the respect that people have for the franchise. Like, I heavily respect the Green Bay Packers. I heavily respect the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Patriots and the Ravens. But I think Rodgers this year has just kind of – I don't want to say he's declining because everything's clicking right now, but something is off. Like, he's had his off days, but never this long a stretch and never this obvious to the public.
Could it be due to Deflategate, actually? Rodgers has come out saying, and in defense of Tom Brady, actually, that he likes his balls overinflated. He personally likes to overinflate his balls past the standard 12.5 to 13.5 PSI.
Maybe that's why he's had such a down season.
So there's been some almost conspiracy theories saying that it's actually negatively affected him because now his balls are no longer to his liking and it's not working out for him.
That was a joke. He's like, wait, all right, never mind.
I mean, who knows? It could be possible.
I mean, I know it's mostly a joke, but who knows? That's what's changed, really. That's what, unless maybe his age catching up to him. Which, how old is he? I don't think he's super old.
Who, Aaron Rodgers? He's
34, 33 years old. No, so it's not age.
His brother was on The Bachelorette. That could have messed with him.
Yeah, because apparently there was some name dropping and things like that.
Like Aaron doesn't talk to his family, and everyone found out about that.
But would that really affect his football play that much? And if it does, then I don't see him as that mental tough quarterback that, he's in contention to be. He was supposed to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I just don't see that happening if he's that mentally weak.
I just personally think that this is an especially volatile year in the NFL. A lot of weird things are going on. I think this is just another one of those weird things. I mean, honestly, maybe, especially this year, people tend to overreact, to basically everything that goes on. But, I mean, personally, I've seen enough from Aaron Rodgers, and I respect him enough. Even if he keeps playing badly the rest of the year, just write this off as one bad year. I think he'll come back and play well again. And then if he doesn't, I'll start to get some questions in my head. But I think it's just been a volatile season, and this is another strange thing that's happened.
Yeah,
No.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I think he gets so much latitude and so much leeway, is because he's shown how good he is. So they're not going to jump on him. And of course they will. All right, so any closing words? Anyone want to say anything before I wrap this up?
Yeah, I'm going to Lambeau Field this weekend. Who should I cheer for? Hawks or Green Bay?
Ooh.
Cheer for a good game.
Yeah,
I'm
warm
just going to
weather.
say, yeah, I'll say Green Bay.
I might as well go with the home crowd.
Go Green Bay.
yeah, I wouldn't blame you if you did that.
Nice people up there
Okay.
in Green Bay, though.
Make sure to eat some cheese curds while you're there. Major key.
Yes,
Big-
go to Eat Cheese.
Big group of
Go to
friends.
what? What did you say, Nira?
I said Eat Cheese in Green Bay.
Oh, I thought you were naming some national chain restaurant, and I was like, that's not
No.
how you eat cheese curds in Wisconsin.
God, no.
Okay, good.
I had
God,
a group of friends who traveled with the Texans, the roadies that go everywhere, and they said regardless of the outcome that it's still a very historical experience being at Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
So I don't blame you for going for the home team.
Yeah, and also I don't want to cheer for the Seahawks. I was already there this year against the Bills. Got enough shit for that.
Oh, God. All right, we're too off topic, so I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for joining us on the Armchair Express podcast. Go follow Armchair NFL at Armchair NFL. Go follow at AC All Americans for our Armchair All Americans. Go check out armchairamerican.com. We're all Armchair, guys.
Well, I'm sure.
Roll armchair.